obviously you are not new to this universe, and it's a very interesting way they weave you in. Because of the way interview ended, we know that the book exists. The book is canon within the universe. But how do you end up crossing paths with Guy?
Guy finds that there is a piece of information in the book that he needs to know more about. Let's leave it at that for now. And I'm doing a book signing, and he comes to the book signing, and instead of asking for an autograph, he writes in it, you know, what about page 396 or something. And I immediately know that he's up to something. So I agree to meet with him. And essentially what happens is, I mean, I'm a vampire, so every human I meet is basically a delicious meal waiting to be eaten. And yet this guy has this incredible power and charisma that pulls me into having just enough empathy for him to try to, like, what does he want from me? And I try to, I give him some hints. And when we shot it, you know, we didn't know each other before we did the scene. And that's actually what happened in the scene, was working with Nick. I kept feeling Nick's charisma, and he kept pulling me toward his energy in a way that was so positive and so empathetic that I kind of, like, my nasty took the back seat, and instead, for a second there, I decided, and then I told him, you know, get out of here before something happens that you don't want to have happen.
And now, Nick, aside from having this deep charisma that even affects Eric, Guy...
He's a liar, I appreciate that.
Guy's smart. He's, you know, a law school grad. He's got some ambition, but he also has something else going on.
Yeah, he's got this ability, this thing, I mean, he's heard voices for years, since he was a kid, and he's always thought that was something that was a mental illness of sorts, so he's heavily medicated himself. But he actually does find out that he has the mind-reading capabilities. And that's what sort of begins to happen with Daniel Malloy in this scene. And I think that maybe gives him a little bit more leverage in all of it. At some point, at the top of the scene, it can be very easy to see Daniel Malloy just squashing Guy like a bug. But there is something that Guy has that piques the curiosity of it. And I think that puts us on a level playing field. So I like that scene so much because it has this beautiful kind of journey throughout where there's a fear at the top, then there's a power battle, and there's sparring all the time. But as soon as he uses that ability, he starts to get a little bit more, a little bit more footing in the background. It's quite a dynamic scene. I enjoyed it.
I like the scene because it's in a dark, scary alley.
It was in Manchester. There's a lot of dark, scary.
Oh, dark alleys. Speaking of dwellers of dark alleys, William, Jasper, your character, who does have exquisite taste in his home space. It is a lovely, lovely combination, but he is also a terrifying monster person. And we've seen the clips, we know that this guy is a bad guy, but exactly how would you explain how bad he is?
Misunderstood. But I would like to say this, the night that you guys were shooting your scene, I did not have a scene like it. I was back at the hotel when I found out you were in town that night shooting it. So I left my hotel room at 12:30 at night to go over so I could meet you. Shook your hand, sat down in your trailer for like 10 minutes, said, what a pleasure. And hopefully we get to do something.
It was an honor, and I'm lobbying for that moment.
Lobby away.
Yeah.
What was your question again?
How bad is this? How bad is this misunderstood monster?
It's not bad at all. I mean, and that was part of the joy of working on this on Talamasca, because I've said it a million times that it's not on the page, it's not on the stage, and what John Lee and entire writers and Mark Lafferty, co-showrunner. What they put together was something that was so grounded in this world that it was a pleasure to discover who Jasper is. And what you find out is it's not all about, it's just wonderful to figure out what is driving this guy, which is very real things to him.
And again, I'm not spoiling it, but what we find out and what drives him is fascinating and sets up a really big story. But this is also a guy who does not get his hands dirty.
Just his eye teeth. But that's another thing.
Jacob, Louise. Yeah, I own the night. It's a total mic drop. I'm like, you're making me funny right now. And the I own the night is such a great setup for wherever this guy is about to become. What can you tell us about him when we pick up?
You can only own the night for so long, right? I feel like Louis is at a really moving, beautiful place at the end of season 2. I think that's all real, and I think he's found like a sense of being in the present. However, I'm stealing this from Hannah. She said this earlier, I thought it was amazing. That like, you can put the dress on the wall, you can put the portrait on the wall, but ultimately, his child died. And that's not something you just get over. So yeah, there's a lot of really exciting Louis de Pontefract invention this season. And I don't wanna ruin any of it because it's really.
But in like the absolute Anne Rice-iest way.
Yeah.
And now Eric, where's Eric? You are now, as we talked about in the previous panel, you're now a vampire. You're a new vampire. So how is he assimilating to this? How's he handling this?
It's not easy. You become a vampire at different stages in your life. In my case, it's very late in life. So there's a lot of Daniel as human being in Daniel, and this struggles with these new powers he gets. Also, Daniel wasn't that. If you go all the way back to the very first moments of our series, Daniel's a kind of a grumpy guy hanging around his house in his socks, watching TV, pissed off. So he's kind of a pissed off guy, and so now pissed off guys with power can be dangerous. And so that's sort of what happens. It's, what does Lestat call it? Traumatic,
Transformational trauma.
Transformational.
Is that a song title?
Big one.
Season 3, it's a spoiler.
Yeah. All right. Now, Assad.
Did you hear that, Sam?
I'm screaming inside. I just can't stop myself from screaming too.
Armand caused so much last season. He broke Louis' heart. The ultimate betrayal with Claudia. So much. Destroyed the house. You guys destroyed the apartment.
I'll talk to him.
But how do you feel about him being daddy? Because I've already seen the bad part.
He likes it too.
But how?
Sorry, I didn't even listen to your question.
He's a bad daddy.
He was a bad boyfriend. What is the dynamic between these two? Because he ruined everything for you, but also in German.
It's I'm trying to figure out a way to talk about it without revealing too much, because where we left them last season.
You know when when a little kid has like a stuffed animal when they're very small and they just drag it around for like years and years. It has one eye for a while and it's all torn up, and that's his approach to Daniel.
Some people would say those toys were well loved.
What he thinks of as love, that's his idea of love.
It's tattered, it's broken, but it's mine.
There's so much of a tone shift with this season, with the music world that you're entering. How has that been, basically hitting restart on the show and adding all of this stuff with Daniel Hart and the recordings and having to film performance scenes?
What Ron and Hannah and this cast have come up with in this season is so unpredictable and so surprising. On one hand, it makes total sense. These are the characters we know and we love, but it is the most, somebody just described it as the most up. It's the most surprising. It reminds me of those movies that have just changed my way of looking at things. And it's so majestic and so wild and unexpected and jaw-dropping and funny, and yes, like the first two, really romantic.
Now, Jennifer! When it was announced in San Diego that you were coming in as Gabriella, people went nuts. This is Lestat's mother. This is a woman who has been described as chaotic. This is a woman who's near death at one point, and then she's also really problematic. What can you tell us about her, and why the Gabriella versus Gabriella?
Well, the Gabriella versus Gabrielle, I don't know. Roland just texted me and said, she's Italian. Shouldn't it be Gabriella? And I said, sure. So that's how that happened. I don't know. But, yeah, chaotic. I guess. I mean, she kind of creates chaos. She kind of thrives in creating it. I think she's had so little agency in her life, and she was married at 15 to somebody she didn't choose, and it was horrible. She had no hope, but she had this boy, and she kind of, I think, had her hopes in him in a really up way. Several really up ways.
Yeah. Okay, so I think they're excited. Sam, this seems like it was a lot of physical work for you. We appreciate that. How has it been? Because becoming a singer, like becoming a rock star and doing all that, your schedule and your process has got to have been incredibly intense.
Yeah, but it's really fun. Like it's exhausting. Like I would be lying if I said like it's we shoot this show quite fast. The amount, as you can see, like there's a lot to fill in the amount of time, but it is so much fun to get like drenched in blood, and sing a rock anthem, or fly through the sky and sing a ballad, have smoke and horses and fangs and eyes and and like, you know, it's every day is something. But it's so exciting, and I think Jennifer said this to me the other day. Like, you feel like a little kid on the set. I mean, so you're just having the best time of your life.
Oh,
So, yeah.
she looks like she's having a good time. Like, she might be the first one who really enjoys being a vampire.
I love it.
Yeah. She's getting hers.